Welcome back, everybody. Another edition of the Reckoning Monologues. Tonight we look at a thread that showed up on the forums, The Long Road to Renown Rank 80, Veteran Insights on White Lion versus Witch Elf. I thought this was a good thread. I posted in it myself, and it was worthy of a little video, I thought. So the OP is desperately seeking Susan.
Susan! What are you doing here?
I got good news and bad news. What do you want to hear first?
Okay, not actually. He's looking for a class worthy of leveling to Renown Rank 80. And from the thread, he says, I've narrowed it down to White Lion and the Witch Elf. Well, certainly two worthy classes there, and I just so happen to have one of each in the plus Renown Rank 80 category. So I thought I would comment a little bit. He goes on to say, I'm stepping away from the organized warband meta. Good for you. I want to focus on solo roaming, 1v1, 1v2 encounters, and small-scale chaos and unorganized warbands. Well, if you're looking for unorganized warbands, you won't have any trouble finding one around here.
He ain't lying.
Now, there are, of course, some organized warbands that are out there. Some of the guilds still get together. Benny Talax gets together every day, actually, and Retribution still has guys that run around. But there's usually, an open warband for you to join into, if that's what you desire. But if you don't, you want to play something solo. My quick assessment: the White Lion is good in groups, capable of good DPS, and a lot of fun in the loner spec. Most of my time I've spent playing my White Lion, I've been in loner spec. And I play it much the same way I sometimes do my Witch Elf when I'm out running around alone. As I play the edges, right? You find a fight. You don't just go charging into the middle because you're not in a warband. You're in loner spec, so you just hang the edges and pick off the guys that might get segmented. My assessment of the Witch Elf: they are psychotic, murdering machines. A stealth class with good DPS and reasonable survivability. You don't have to play in regen spec or have like 90% period. I mean, you can do that, but you don't have to do that to have reasonable survivability, especially if you're hunting in what I affectionately call the Witch Elf Mafia. This means you've got 2 or 3 other Witch Elves with you out hunting as a pack. The OP goes on to say, I'd love to hear from the veterans who have lived in the trenches with these classes. There have been, of course, over the years, many good Witch Elf players that have been on the server. And there are a few that are still on the server right now. I consider myself, I have fun with it. That's my big thing. I have fun with the class. And to me, that's one of the great draws to playing Witch Elf is it is just, you can just have great fun out in the lakes with it. But there have been some guys who have really sort of mastered the class. Most of them, unfortunately, aren't around anymore. And the same is true for White Lion. White Lion, of course, benefits from being viable in groups. I think in warbands, more viable than playing Witch Elf, quote, in a warband. But to make this easy, I just took some screen grabs here. There are 4 categories the guy was looking for. You have an rank 80 who is the real king, queen of the gladiator pit. That's a metaphor, of course, for just getting out and going face-to-face with somebody, which has always been my preferred manner in which to play the game. Can a pro White Lion truly dictate a 1v2 with positioning and fetch, or does the AI pet eventually become my worst enemy? The answer to that is yes and yes. Surviving the no-heal life and unorganized pugs, I'm often on my own. Welcome to the club. Which class is less likely to make me throw my keyboard out the window? Well, that's more of an issue of some of the groups you get into rather than just the class mechanics on a particular class. My wisdom, as I've often articulated, is that every class in this game is good and every class in this game sucks. It depends on what you do with a particular class. But both of them are strong. And if you want to watch somebody who plays a good White Lion, watch Logren. Watch Logren some night when she streams. She plays a White Lion often. Long-term mastery, I want a class that I can still learn even after months of playing. Does the Witch Elf stay rewarding? Yes, it does. And that's because of the essence of the class. the whole sneaking around the battlefield thing, right? And picking off guys who may not be paying 100% attention at a particular moment, or sneaking into a keep isn't what it used to be, because they doubled the guards and doubled the damage that the guards do. So it's not as easy to pick off somebody who's AFKing in a keep, but you can still every now and then. But it's just the whole idea of sneaking up on somebody and getting in the first hit. And with a Witch Elf, you have time to get in like two good, you can have your opener, a knockdown, and another good attack before they have a chance to get up. Unless you come up against a Rune Priest, but that's a whole nother story. Performance and Chaos Warbands. When I join a random public warband, just for the fun of it, who brings more to the table? My answer to that one would be, if you're looking for just who brings more benefit to the warband, because the way I look at playing a Witch Elf is you don't need a fracking warband, man. You can go out and have all the fun you want, and go out and get some kills, go out and find some good fights, and you can do that on your own. You can do that with, like I said before, 2-3 other Witch Elves with you, and or you can just play the edges. Again, you find a warband fight, and you just sort of play the exterior, right? And you go in when you see your opportunity to pick somebody off, and you can do that and have fun, and you're still contributing to your realm, right? Whether they like it or not. Filler here, some filler background material for some supporting commentary. Between the two classes of playing my White Lion and playing my Witch Elf, when I leveled my Swordmaster to around rank 90, I wanted to take a break. I guess I was in sort of the position that you are now. I wanted to take a break from playing Swordmaster and level something else. And so first I stuck with my Witch Elf, and I was just amazed at how fast I got to around rank 80. I mean, it was, the time it took to gain the renown was about half the time it took for any other class. And that's, of course, under the new system, the newer system in gathering renown. But it was just, sometimes I just thought, man, this is just ridiculous how fast, you gain. White Lion is not quite that quick, but I did have a lot of fun in some of the war bands that I joined at the time, and especially when I was running with Benny Talax on my White Lion, because they always wanted to go White Lion heavy, which is kind of cool. If you have two White Lions that's DPS in the same party, you can really put out some damage.
He ain't lying.
Really rack up a lot of kills, and they were running warbands like that for a long time, and that was a lot of fun. White Lion has, you can use your pet, and fetch works better now than it did at one time. I see a lot of guys out there using the fetch and pulling in some good targets, much the same way that a Marauder will. Magus has a pull kind of like the Choppa pull and the Engi pull, but you don't see that many Engis out there running around in pull spec anymore.
He ain't lying.
But loner spec, my only complaint now about loner spec on a White Lion, if you decide to go with that particular spec, is the trade-off for it was that you gave up use of your pet and you had no cooldown on pounce. That was the trade-off. Well, they have subsequently changed that. Now you still give up your pet, but now there's a cooldown on pounce. And that took, I admit, and I've said it before, that took some of the, I thought not just the enjoyment out of the class or that particular spec, but it just took the purpose out of it.
He ain't lying.
The whole purpose of going loner was that you were quicker, you could get to a target quicker and more often, because fetch doesn't take you to where your target is. It takes you to where it was when you hit the button. Alright. The player base at large provided a number of reasonable responses on this thread. I'm going to highlight a couple. Starks said the Witch Elf is better solo.
He ain't lying.
That's true. It's better because you can use stealth to pick your fights and escape and always be the first to attack. It's like street fighting, man. If you're ever in a street fight, it's always important to get in the first hit, and Witch Elf allows you to do that. 1v2 is White Lion 100%. Fetch, charge, pounce, and pet will help you win the third. Okay, what he's saying is, if you have a ranged target that you're up against in the 1v2, then you have a lot more chance, higher probability to get to it and kill it before they kill you. Okay. Anastalt says, stop chasing the meta. I thought it important to put that in here. One final highlight. Nocturnal Guest says, Marauder fits perfectly what you're looking for. Perfect brawler, check. 1vx potential, check. For solo defensive builds. No heal life, check. Long-term mastery, check. And performance in pug warbands, check. And I kind of have to agree. You know, I admit up front, I've never played a Marauder. Not one of the classes that drew my attention. But on my Sword Master, I have fought many of them over the years. I mean, many of them. And a Marauder is always a difficult target, and it's always a good fight. And just from fighting against them, I can tell that what this guy's saying is true. And fact check true. Actually. So he posted in the thread, there's a link to some Marauder builds, but if you want to check that out, Marauder of course benefits from the fact that, well, like a White Lion, they can pull a target to them. And I will say that it's always fun to get pulled to a Marauder and then kill that Marauder that pulled you to him. That's always one of the sweet spots in the game.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Alright, to wrap up here, this was a good thread, one I thought worthy of a few additional words, so I decided to craft this little video, and because, you know, there are a lot of people who may watch some of the videos on YouTube who don't peruse the forum, because not everybody, of course, peruses the forums. It's not always the same people who you know, watch the YouTube videos or play the game and then post on the forums as well. Alright, take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Weak and feeble. Cain take you. This is beneath me.
Feel my fury!